You're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day. Or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help.
The FHN network is sponsored in part by Hoddle Services. If you're looking for a disc jockey, karaoke host, video jockey to videographer, our company can help. With over 20 years of experience, we would be happy to help with your special event within Ontario, Canada. You can contact us at 226-988-2895 or visit us at our website at hoddleservices.vpweb.ca. That's HODDLE Services. We look forward to hearing from you and helping with your special event.
That theme song fires me up every time I come on here. What's up, OTP fans? Thanks for tuning in to the live recording of Season 3, Episode 10 of Off the Puck Hockey on the FHN Network and Rogers TV.
Where are you?
13 and 20. What? What'd you say?
You there, Mark?
I'm here, guys. I'm here.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Styles, can you hear me? What's wrong with you? Well, guy's right in the middle of my intro and he's cutting me off. What's wrong with this guy? I don't know if he knows this. I'm hard working at this.
He just dropped the mic and walked out.
He's pulling these shenanigans. That's all right though. That's all right though. Everyone knows what it is. It's Off the Puck Hockey. Channel 20, Channel 13 on Rogers TV every Saturday night at 9 p.m. You can view our live recordings right here on Facebook, YouTube, FHN Network, or ASTV, the fastest growing network in North America. Make sure you check out ASTV. Tonight, our show dedicated to our favorite team, the boys, the blue and white Toronto Maple Leafs. We have so much to talk about. The current club, the past, the present, and the future. All right? We're going to go down memory lane. Our guest tonight's a little obsessed. I got to tell you, I've never met the man. But all you got to do is look at the backdrop. This boy is Leafs obsessed. And you know what? He's a hockey guy, though, and that's what I love about him already. But before we get right into it, we got Adam Styles. What's up, fella?
Not too much. What's going on, Findsy? How are you?
Well, you ruined my intro. You ruined my intro.
Hey, man, when I came, like I said, when I came back in, all I seen was a black screen with you, and I could just only see Mark. I'm like, great. I thought you were leaving me hanging.
Unbelievable. Now I got to introduce. You know what? Now I got to introduce the guest. Because it's gonna be amazing, and we got to shout out again, Mr. Mark Fera. What's going on, fella?
Not much, boys. I'm not sure it's going to be anything too special, but we'll do our best to get you through the hard times of this team and into what we have to look forward to now, right? So we'll enjoy it for sure.
Yeah, you know what? I'm excited. I know Adam is for sure. I mean, we're both diehard Leafs fans, have been our entire lives. And, you know, that's probably where our other co-host, Mike Walker, who's a Pens fan, didn't want to show up tonight. He says he's tired. He's exhausted from a big day at work. That's Walker there for you. Yeah. You just didn't want to talk about how good the boys were. But I thought for sure he would come on because it would be a really good time for him to rinse us because the Pens beat us. Did no one else think, right?
Definitely had a chance to do that the last little while for sure, and hopefully. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're judging this team in the spring, and I'm okay with meeting them if it comes down to it.
Yeah, no, I agree, Mark. And listen, thanks for coming on. And I guess the most obvious question is how many Toronto Maple Leafs podcasts or shows have you done in the last 4 years?
It's been quite a few, and you know what? For me, it's been a fan trying to enjoy the times and try and enjoy what we hope to have moving forward. My story is an interesting one. I was actually a young victim of the Maple Leaf Garden sex scandal back in the day, and so I was a young boy that was abused by one of the ushers named John Paul Roby. I'm very open about it, and people often say, "Well, what do you know? This is kind of crazy. You know, you're a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, but you have." Such a past, it's got some checkers to it for sure with regards to that. And I say, my greatest memories are in the stands and watching some of these guys roar up and down the ice and listening to the stories and stuff that went on to a point where I really just wanted to focus on, keeping the history of this team alive. I found it really lacked in some key times. And, obviously this team, building the first dynasty in hockey history and then continuing it through the 60s. Obviously we can listen to the Montreal Canadiens fans brag about, all the Stanley Cups that they actually cheated on. We're going to go with that anyways. And then, but this team has so many great stories. And when you think about the Bill Barocos or the Bobby Bonds scoring a goal on a broken foot, the fact this team and what it's gone through during the Ballard years and how it kind of came back when, Cliff Fletcher took the realm and really had this team started to be recognized. And it's amazing. It's a story that we're hoping in our lifetime we're going to get a chance to have a happy ending with, right?
Oh God, I hope so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, we gotta do. I think we're gonna have a good year this year. I think Adam and I both of what we've talked about, and I think it's everyone. Listen, first week back, and I got to go back, and I'm gonna clip it. I literally looked at the camera and just tell everybody, relax. It's the non-hockey people that don't get it, and I just said, calm down. Just give it a couple games. It happens, and look at them now. They're flying, and they're going to be good. I'm excited.
Yeah, everybody's going after Muzzin, and Muzzin's at a slow start, and people often forget it takes big boys a little while to get going, and when you're picking on guys like Richie and they're being real crucial with stuff like that, it takes a little while. I mean, a guy like Richie's coming into a new system, new players, new energy and new expectations, and that's the key, right? And some players it takes a while, and again, so many people have asked me, what do you think of this guy? What do you think of that guy? I'm going to judge him in the spring, but I think this team is committed to playing a little different style than we're used to and a little different game that we're used to. And, I kind of look at the Edmonton Oilers and the flair and the flash and dash that they're representing right now. And I think it's all fine and dandy and that's great, but it's kind of where we've been the last couple of years and it hasn't worked for us. So, hats off to Keefe and our management team and the players on this team for looking to take a bit of a direction. It looks like our power play, they're committed to doing things and working on things. And I'll be honest, I was jealous for the first number of years. I'd go down to Boston and see the playoff games, and I'd watch Boston players constantly communicating, trying different things, and you wouldn't see the same communication on our side. I'm seeing that now, and you're seeing it constantly. Players discussing things before every face-off, where they're going to go, what they're doing, and not being afraid to just be who they are and trust what they've got, right? I think that's something that has been a real treat to watch so far this year.
Great.
Absolutely. I kind of want to take it back from the start there, Mark. So what was it since day one you're a Leafs fan? How did that all start?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I originally had started collecting hockey cards. My dad used to work for Yellow Pages and Teledirect. He used to do the advertising in London where OPG, the most, popular hockey card that we've ever dealt with was their main offices were there where they've actually, created the cards and packaged them and everything. And so he used to bring me home a box of, I used to bring home about 10,000 every year, and I'd sort them out, put them into sets, and I'd trade my friends at school for stuff that they didn't want, which was in fact the old cards. And so I would take the old cards, and some of my friends would say, why wouldn't you want the new players? And we're talking early 80s when this was happening. And
yeah.
And so I was taking that stuff and just putting it away. But one day my dad came home from a game, and it was my first game in 1983. It was Toronto and Chicago. It was a 10-8 Toronto win. And I thought it was absolutely amazing because records were going like crazy for goals being scored and two penalty shots. As Tony Esposito, who we just lost not too long ago, got scored on by Greg Terrion, and Mike Palmateer had stopped the Chicago player on a penalty shot. So Tubby Terrion instantly became my favorite because he was a real mucker. He'd go in the corner. He wasn't afraid to get the elbows up when he needed to, and he could bury the biscuit every time, when it was needed, right? In desperate times, he always seemed to kind of come up with that key moment, and never really got the recognition for it. So my dad had brought home this Greg Terrion game used stick, and I thought, it's unbelievable. I could actually own something that isn't a card that 10 of my friends have. This is something you just don't see every day. And as you can see, it's kind of taken off from there. So everything you see in the room, every jersey you'll see, every stick above me, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of an overhead shot. These are just some of the sticks here that I've got.
Holy Christ.
Including I think there's 36 Matthews sticks, every variant of Matthews sticks. Willie Styles, we've got. Oh yeah, I got a few up there. But if you're coming over to play, we got to take out the old wood shafts, okay? Because I'm going old style, or
I love
send
it.
you
I
home
love
with a
it.
couple
Stay off
bruises.
the wrist. Stay off the wrist.
Yeah. We've actually got the stick up there that Andy Bathgate used to score the game-winning goal in 1964 in Game 7 to win the Stanley Cup. We've got everything from, I think we've got about 6 Davy Keons to Sittlers, a whackload of Sittlers and Lanny McDonald's and you name it. Everything from from George Armstrong, the Chief, right through to Bobby Bond. We've got all kinds of stuff in there. So it's each stick, and that's the one thing that I like about each piece is that it all tells a story. Everything has a unique story to it, right? And my girlfriend often asks, she says, like, she didn't understand at first, and she loves watching Leaf games now, but she didn't get it at first because she just didn't understand why guys like to collect men's used clothing. But probably thought I was a little weird at first. She might still think it's weird, but I think she's catching on now. So
just ask her how many pairs of shoes she owns. Same thing. Yeah, actually, yours is useful, and yours is an appreciating asset. Hers is a depreciating asset. So.
Yeah, exactly. I actually just got her first game worn sweater last week, and Willie Styles, the first 88 that he wore as a Maple Leaf. So she likes him. I guess he's kind of cute. I guess I got to let her have that a little bit. Right?
He's a stud. Watch out, buddy. Watch out.
Yeah, I know. I always
joke that's my cousin, Willie Styles.
Yeah, he's a man rocket, that young man.
Oh, yeah, he's a stud.
That's it.
But do you still have that first game stick that you're just talking about? Do you still have that in your
I do.
possession?
I do. Yeah, I do. I still have it, and I'm in touch with Greg's son, and we chat all the time, and he's following a lot of the stuff, and he loves it too. It's too bad we lost Greg, and like we are losing a lot of players now, and again, it's a shame because you see these every day, and you look at things, and you look around, and every day I look at a jersey, and there's another guy we're losing, right? And unfortunately, we're losing the stories, and you never hear the stories properly until you hear it right from the players' mouths, right? So it's always cool to have those little interactions with them too.
Nope, and that's what I I read a little bit reading up on it about you, and that's what I read. You're big on like how Toronto doesn't really do that too much for our former players. We don't really have them on exhibit in the arena where you said so much, like down in New York and Boston, how they have them so much, and you can read up on the history. Toronto doesn't have that so much, do they?
And that was something that I've talked, and I mean, the Maple Leafs try and do a really good job on the Jumbotron, and I think they've come a long way from where it's at. But I like the fact of when people can see things and touch them, and you'll notice that a lot of my jerseys are out in the open. I mean, they're hockey sweaters, right? Like you know, the fact you can touch a wool sweater, or touch the jersey right here that Wendell wore. It's got 47 repairs. 57 repairs. Let me correct myself. 4 fight straps. I mean, they literally couldn't have siliconed it to him to keep it on him, right? But when you listen to it, that's the thing. Like, I like the fact that we can actually see it. And Tiger Williams on this side of me. Sorry, you guys are reversed right there. That's the last jersey that he wore as a Toronto Maple Leaf, and during that 78-79 season when they had that rivalry with Montreal in the playoffs, which again we don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy though. If you think about it, I don't know if you know that, but every year that the Maple Leafs and Montreal Canadiens have met in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the winner's always gone on to the Stanley Cup final.
Really, eh?
Yeah. Every year that they've ever met.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The crazy stat
so,
they have.
Well, too bad we couldn't meet up this year.
Yeah, that's all right. We let them have their moment, right? So
yeah, right.
They're not getting it for another 20 years
every once in a while.
Yeah, as long as they're not in there again for the next 20 years, I could care less.
Yeah. But you'll hear about the one last year, how they made it to the finals though forever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they won't shut up about it. What for me, what Leaf team in what year would you wish you could have witnessed live?
Well, I think it would have been the Leafs from the 47 to the 51. I think that they just had, I think that time, that era, just was a great time to be able to enjoy it. Obviously, we end with the 50s with the Bill Barilko goal, and then of course they don't win another cup till 1962. So there's 11 years that go by in that. But the fact of the matter is, I just think that time, times were a lot simpler, and you were a hockey player, so you worked on the farm, or you went home to Timmins, or you went to wherever you were from, Port Colborne, or wherever you were from, to work in the summer, and you came back and played hockey. The times were a lot simpler, but I find that those were to me the real the boys that enjoyed the game the most, that I'm understanding. And the 60s would have been a nice one as well. Don't get me wrong. I think that, that obviously that 60s run by the Maple Leafs going into the last Stanley Cup is a close second. But I just think the history behind the Bill Barilko story, for me, has been something that I've just been infatuated for many years.
Yeah, Mark, speak on that. I had a ton of questions on the Bill Barilko. You're a huge Bill Barilko guy. You go speak on it, public speaking everywhere. Tell us all how this obsession came, and how all your pieces that you have in your collection of Barilko. And yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll take you for a walk in a few
walk
minutes
us
here.
Through it. I'm in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
it's awesome, man. I was reading it all and just got chills. Like some of the cool stuff you've been able to encounter and do with it.
Yeah, it all started for me. I was actually on a phone call. I had a 1946-47 autographed sheet, and on that sheet was it was Ted Kennedy's name was the only one that was missing on that sheet. And so I reached out. Ted Kennedy was working at Fort Erie Racetrack, and I reached out to him and I said, Mr. Kennedy, I'd love to have your autograph on this sheet, and this is who's there, and this is who's missing. So he talked to me for like an hour, and at the end of the conversation, he reaches out to me. I'm going to try and move over here. It's a little bit different than I'm used to, but and he said, he goes, Mark, he goes, I'm going to send you my autograph for sure, but there's one person in particular I'd like you to pay close attention to, and that's Bill Barilko. He was loved by his teammates, and he was a hell of a person. And so from that moment on, I started to read a little bit, started to try to understand. And, I was sitting down one day and I was just having a conversation. I'm going to try and put this over here to maybe make it a little straighter for you guys.
Oh, that's good. We're good. We're good.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting down. I'm having a conversation. Can you guys hear me okay still?
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sitting down and I'm just having a conversation with Graham McLaughlin, and he's out in Alberta, and his relatives were J.P. Bickle, who actually funded Maple Leaf Gardens and was a big key to bringing the team to become the Maple Leafs. And so I'm talking to Graham, and we're looking at some pictures and stuff. And he said, Mark, what's the one thing that you really want? And I said, I really just want to see the Bill Barilko crash site and the wreckage that had been in a secret storage unit in Timmins. So Graham says, you know what, you're not going to believe this. He actually leaves, comes back, and he's got a little piece of the plane. I couldn't believe it, and I'm trying to make him a trade and see if I can acquire it to put it in here. And he said, I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna introduce you to the group that Kevin Vincent and the group that actually recovered the plane in 2011 and put it in storage, and it had been in storage in a sea can in Timmins since. So I get a call like about 3 days later, and next thing you know, a friend of mine, Brandon Marshy, and Marsh, who works with MLSE, and myself, he's a good friend of mine. So we go up for a trip up there, and I'm thinking I'm just going to be happy to see this thing. And next thing you know, Kevin, I was honored enough to bring back 3 pieces of the plane, and actually brought back the one piece right here that you're seeing here, a little piece of the landing gear, and just 3 smaller pieces. And next thing you know, I came back, and I'm at a sports memorabilia show here in Toronto that takes place every year, and all of a sudden I got a guy coming up to me. He comes up to me and says, Mark, he says, you're the Bill Barilko guy, right? And I said, I didn't quite, felt that handle was there, but yeah. I went, okay. And he said, there's something, a guy that has, I want to show you. And so he brought me over, and this piece here that I'm not sure if you guys can see well enough, this is actually the lyrics that Gord Downey hand wrote to 50 Mission Cap. Yeah,
One of a
And that
kind,
was,
obviously.
oh yeah, and that was presented. It's actually two of a kind because one of these is hanging in the Maple Leaf dressing room, and this one was presented to Ann, Bill's sister, at center ice in 2001 to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the goal. So between that and then I get invited back up, and it's really weird because when you talk about the story behind Bill Barocco and everything, and there's all this story because keep in mind, okay, so Bill's playing in for the Hollywood Wolves in 1945, okay, and here's another picture. I don't know if you can see this, but this is the team picture
Yeah.
that from his team in 1945, and that's actually the only known autographed team picture.
No
And
way.
so that would basically be playing like you'd be playing, for the Toronto Maple Leafs, not even the Toronto Marlies, but you'd be a step below. Maybe the Brampton Beast would be the equivalent to when they had a team in Brampton there. That would be the equivalent of where he was playing. And so Pittsburgh being their main minor team, Toronto's facing these injuries in 1947, and they say, well, we need a player to come down or to come up. And Pittsburgh says, we have nobody. We have this Barocco kid on his way up from Hollywood. You can take him if you'd like. And so they call him right up to Toronto. He doesn't even suit up for Pittsburgh. So he goes right to Toronto. His mom's in Timmins. She looks at it as a demotion because she's like, my kid's playing in Hollywood right now. He's dating actresses and hanging out with famous people, and now he's going to play hockey in Toronto. She didn't realize it was like the mecca of hocky, right? And where he was going.
Absolutely, yeah.
So he goes to play there, and so and pretty much the rest is history. 4 cups in 5 years, and so I'm sitting here and I'm honored to have the tragically hit piece and a couple pieces of the plane, and then the group decides, the group that recovered the plane. It was a group of 11 people that went into the bush. It's actually more than that, but I'm going with 11. I'm going on a whim here right now, and so they actually went into the bush and recovered the plane, not for money or for financial reimbursement, but to keep the story of Bill Barocco alive. And the people of Timmins and the Northern Ontario, we're going to go Northern Ontario because there was some from all over the place up there that kind of came and helped out, and so they really wanted to keep the story of this alive. And so, they entrusted, me to help keep this story alive. And I'm extreme. I mean, they're all friends. Some of them are like family to me now. I talk to them all the time. And, this is kind of what's the most part left of it. This right here is the seat that Barocco's body actually laid in. From 1951 until they found the bodies in 62, so 11 years, the bodies of him and Dr. Henry Hudson. Let's not forget there was another person there as well. And the story is that, and a lot of people don't realize, is that there's a curse over the Maple Leafs, and that curse is, they call it the Bill Barocco curse. So the Maple Leafs were expected to win all these championships, going from the 40s into the 50s and becoming one of sports greatest dynasties, don't win another Stanley Cup for 11 years. So because his parents were of Russian descent, because his parents were, they thought maybe he had secretly gone to Russia to coach the Russian national team. They thought maybe they had smuggled gold in the plane. There were so many stories going on about it. And so nobody knew what happened. The team kept his stall dressed, his stall ready to go and come the next season, and he never showed up. Conn Smythe actually, offered, the largest reward and spent over $300,000 in a search for this plane, which is still the most documented plane crash in Canadian history. This is like our Buddy Holly story, right? So.
Yeah.
So he goes down, and next thing you know, so the Maple Leafs win their next Stanley Cup in 1962, and literally they find the bodies in this plane still strapped, literally weeks after that Stanley Cup had been won. So that it's really weird how the curse was lifted when they won the cup. So you're sitting here and you're saying to yourself, like, it is kind of weird, it's kind of different, but the fact of the matter is, if you knew how much stuff has actually found itself here in such a short period of time, it's unbelievable. Because when I tell you the story about the next thing here, it's equally as interesting. And this is the goal puck that Barocco scored the goal with. And so what makes this story equally as interesting is that a family out of Hamilton called the Donahue family, their family owned the Wellington Street pub, and that was a pub that was around for over 100 years. And their grandfather had owned seasons tickets to the Maple Leafs games. So they go down to the game, and now meanwhile, what you have to realize is that the NHL, the Hall of Fame, believes that they've had this puck the whole time. They believe that the puck after the goal was scored was given to a boy who was handicapped in a wheelchair. He held on to it and he gave it to the Hall of Fame when they opened in the 60s. But it wasn't until afterwards that the Donahue family came out in Hamilton and said, "No, we've got the actual puck." Well, how do you question that? How do you try and figure out who's got what? Well, it just so happens that first of all, the puck that the NHL has is, I've got a picture here, which hopefully you can see. So the darker puck is the puck that the NHL had, and it's really funny because the NHL stopped using that puck in 1942. So that was literally like nine years before this puck with the orange logo here, right here, was used during Baroko's time. So that immediately eliminated the puck that the Hall of Fame had because it wasn't even from the same era. So now you're starting with this family. You're okay, well, let's hear your story. So the story is that there's Harry Jr. and his brother Jerry, and then there's Jeremiah, who's the father. The father owns the pub, Jeremiah. He has these seasons tickets. He goes down to the game, brings his two boys with him. The goal is scored, and Harry turns to his dad and says, "Is there any chance that I can go get the puck?" Because back then it was a lot easier to get on the ice. His dad says, "We'll have to let you on the ice." So he goes down, he hops the boards, gets the puck, comes back. A guy offers him, I think it was $50 or $25 for the puck, which is huge money back then. He says no, takes the puck home, and they immediately make this stand for the puck to go on. I'm going to try and get you a little closer to it there. He makes the stand that puck would sit on from 1951 right till today. So it sat in the family's dining room. They lived in the same area they lived in a building attached to the Wellington Street pub. So it's attached there. So they come out, we start to try to justify it, and then don't they find a picture of what looks to be Harry on the ice after the goal is scored walking towards the net. It's fascinating until we're talking about we're doing a story back in, I guess it was 2020 in April. We were celebrating the 69th anniversary of the goal, and I had set up an interview for the Hamilton Spectator for Dan to be on to talk about his family's puck, and it just so happens that a gentleman calls in and says, "I can validate the story. My father drove all of them down to the Leaf game that night. He was with them, and he was there when they got the puck." And the story matched up perfect.
Jesus.
Yeah, because Jeremiah didn't drive, and this was all documented before. His dad drove a big Buick, had lots of money, but really helped the community, helped a lot of people when they needed it, and especially during the Depression, during tough times. And this gentleman would work with them on the weekends, and he'd be their weekend driver. So he took the two brothers and the father to the Leaf game and joined them. And so it was his son that came on and said, "I was there when I remember that puck in the living room. My dad was the one who drove him to the game. He told me all about the story." So we validated it, and we've done a lot of work to try and maintain that since. Yeah, and it's so you look at that. You look at the wreckage. You look at the piece written by Gord Downey, and then all of a sudden we've got the only known ticket stub and program from that game. We've got the ticket stub signed by Bill and his program from his first home game. Then we had a guy come out of nowhere with all of the original ministry drawings from the crash scene in 1962, stamped by the ministry.
Wow.
Then
That's crazy.
Then we get the plane down in here. There's the logbook from the pilot who found the plane when he was flying overhead, and that's a logbook of him showing that he found the plane. And back then they didn't have the GPS like they did today, so he just took out a roll of toilet paper when he was flying over above, and he saw a shiny metal in the bush, and threw out toilet paper so he could mark the spot. They came back the next day and found that it was the Barocco wreckage. So you get that, and then in the back we've got Bill's contract. We've got his skates and his his gloves from when he played hockey in Porcupine, which is a small community just up north, just outside of Timmins. And so, and then you look around and I've got a whole bunch of the old original photos and everything. It's not done. This isn't the final place for this, but this will be the place until we get into the next the next place. And it's what's really sad about this is that the gentleman who got me the program passed away only weeks after he brought it. The gentleman who got me, Daryl McGregor, was great enough to meet his wife and some of his family up in Timmins. They gave away an award for the Bill Barocco Best Defenseman. He passed away just a few weeks after he gave this to me. And then very famous Canadian artist Rob McDougall, who I was lucky enough to build a friendship with, brought me over this hand-drawn cartoon that he drew. This is the original print to add in, and he came over with with one of his buddies. It's a famous Canadian performer, anyways, and then we lost Rob just a few weeks after that, literally, and so it's very weird and very, very, very odd, and how everything has come in, and then to top it all off, accidentally stumbled across in an auction Bill's ring, and they didn't even know that it was Bill's ring. So when you look in here, you can see that it's Bill's ring, right in there.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
So we validated that as well, and so the cool thing is, guys, is that Reed and I, when we went up to Timmins and we went when we went there with Kevin Vincent, we actually were the first ones to reunite the puck with Bill's jersey, who a good friend of mine owns, and his ring for the first time since he passed away. So it was really, really eerie cool, man. And there's a lot of even weirder stories right now, but you could literally go on all day with it, right? So
now, Mark, excuse my ignorance, but have you written or written a book or talked about any of these things at all? Have you just ever decided to put them down, or maybe just let your thoughts go kind of like you are now and really get them out there for people?
Oh, I definitely intend to write a book at some point. But Kevin Shea, who's one of the great guys, he's written a book Without a Trace, and there's a few of them. Yeah, so he's written it more on the family side and their story, and he's done, like, he's just an incredible human being, and he did a great job, and I've got a copy of his book signed by him, and that's the one great thing about collecting and everything, is you meet some unbelievable people in this, and some people that you make great friendships with, and you really enjoy it, and so that's that part of it, and that's we've got a lot more we can show you here for sure.
Oh man, we need to do like 3 hours on the TML down here. We really do. Like that's just insane, man. How did I know Styles? You know what? I'm gonna let Styles do a lot of he wants to ask a lot of questions, but the one I want to know is, when did you know? Obviously you do a lot of collecting, blah blah. But I think the word you could use is you're obsessed. It's obsession. You love it, but you love it. But you love it. It's not. It's a good obsession. When did you know this is what I want to do? I want to gather this information. I want to give it to the world. It's not just for me, because now you're presenting it out there. You want to write a book. You want to do, you do podcasts, you do shows. So this isn't just for you. Do you remember what kind of like when that transpired, or how you felt when you made the decision, like, I'm all in on this?
Good question.
Yeah, when I walked into Maple Leaf Gardens, this sign behind me that you see used to hang in the gardens, and they made one for every Stanley Cup that the team would win, and this is the very first one from 1931, the very first year that Maple Leaf Gardens opened. And so, to me, this is the most dominating piece from Maple Leaf Gardens. But this is exactly it. When I walked into the gardens, the faces almost seemed lifelike. They seemed like they were looking at you, they were watching you, and it was almost like the friendly ghosts of Maple Leaf Gardens, right? And so for me, I wanted to know the stories. I wanted to know about how the Gardens was built during the Great Depression, and how it was built in such a short period of time, and how come people didn't know that. And so it all started with this sign, when it came for me to realize that I wanted to tell the story, and it just so happened I was lucky enough to be able to acquire it and put it in. But yeah, this thing, it's huge. It's a big sign, and I've actually got two of them. that hung in the gardens. This is my
Dude,
favorite
I got
one.
like
But yeah, this is
goosebumps.
where
I
it all
got like
started.
goosebumps thinking about this. I feel like I'm in,
Oh,
like I
it's
can't even tell you. Like I don't even know what to tell you. Like I got goosebumps. Like I feel like I need
I
to
was
get a
almost getting
catalog.
tears with that Barocco stuff, man. That's
Oh yeah,
real.
Oh,
That's
oh yeah.
crazy.
dude,
Yeah,
that's
actually,
awesome.
sitting right here, this jersey here in the middle was just acquired here recently. This is the only known that we know of Stanley Cup. It looks to be a Stanley Cup Finals. I believe we've got it photo matched and video matched to the Stanley Cup Finals to Ron Ellis wearing it in the Stanley Cup Final when they're being presented the cup. So worn right for the game winning
No way.
moment. Yeah, and he was a rookie back then, wore number 8. So that's kind of a cool one that I've just gotten. That'll be
God.
Right,
put
yeah,
in put in a Legends row there pretty soon. So
yeah.
yeah, and take you for a
That
quick kind of
Styles gonna
walk
see
around.
that room that Styles got in the background there. That's what he's gonna do now. You've got him so fired up, Mark. Like he's gonna be competing with you. He's gonna turn that. I don't know what the hell that is behind
Oh,
him.
I just
Desture, whatever. Whatever's behind him there. That's gonna be all Leaf stuff by the end of the week.
I have
Well,
it all. I just need to put it all up and finish it all. You put me to shame and everything. I don't really have any game use
You
stuff.
know,
More or less
Sure he's got
just
the first
autographed jerseys. But yeah, man, that's let's
the
show
most
the world. Let's see all this, man.
yeah, the most important thing, guys, and that's what I often talk to people is that like it's not a competition. There's been some people out there that have done some outstanding
Yeah,
jobs in their collecting, and I love meeting collectors. I love talking to them. Their stories are all different. Their angles are different. It's not a price point. This isn't something that It's not. I mean, listen. I'm honored that people say that you have to have you must have the biggest collection in the world. You must have this. You must have that. But guys, when that team lifts the Stanley Cup, we're going to be doing it all together, right? So
yeah.
that's the way I want to look at it, and I like to share it with you guys like you. Hopefully we can get you guys over and have a beer and get into depth a little bit more. Maybe even do a little live show when you guys are ready too.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, already there.
Finds
Yeah,
it.
already there. No problem.
Yeah.
Already
Book
there.
it in. Let's pencil it in.
Anytime. Yeah, I'm in. Yeah, 100%. We just got to get these guys out of Dover. They haven't been out. They haven't been to the East in like 20 years. The only time they
Well,
ever
that's
go to
it.
the East is to watch Leaf games.
Yeah. I haven't been there in my
Well,
basement in 2 years, man.
we got a reason to get you out now. This is actually the net Johnny Bauer protected for 13
Oh
years
man,
before he
Johnny
became a
Bauer.
Maple Leaf. Yeah, he was with Cleveland Barons, and that's his glove above it, and that stick, that Titan stick, big heavy stick that would certainly take out a couple chiclets if you took one in the lip.
The
That's
PK
Rick
stick,
Vive's
the
stick.
Pelly kill.
Yeah, that's Rick Vive's stick that he actually used to score the first 50-goal season, the 50th goal in the first 50th goal season in Leaf history. And I've got the pucks and everything with it as well. That came right from Rick. But actually, that combined with Rick's first 50-goal puck, his second 50-goal puck, his third 50-goal puck, the puck he beat Mahovlich's record with, and his first hat-trick puck. And so I've got that right. They're covering up Big E's Eric Lindros's game used gloves from the Leafs, and there's the visiting team bench from the Gardens. I've actually got the full team
No
bench from
way.
my office, and you can actually see that there's gum underneath it, and that bench was used basically right back from 1931. Because the story is that the floor was painted. They said these were originally painted green.
It was green.
And
Yeah.
if you look underneath, you can see the green paint underneath it still.
Seriously. Eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's the Leaf Sports sign that hung outside of the Gardens, and the old '70s. They called these the Batman jerseys because of the logo, and that's Errol Thompson and Bob Neely, and then Randy Carlisle and Jack Valaket over here, and then we've got in the background we've got one of the lockers from the Gardens with Sundin's pants that he broke the Leafs record in for most goals. We've got Ricky Vi's 50-goal pants or 50-goal season gloves and Sundins and Ian Turnbull's and Caberlet's and all kinds of stuff in there. And then we've got even Mike Palmetier, the Popcorn Kid. We've got his equipment in here along with Potvins with his mask from when he played in St.
That's
John's.
my guy.
Oh boy, the
Yeah.
cat.
The
Little
cat.
Alan Bester, and we've even got Johnny Bauer's coach's jacket in the back, and you can actually see there's a couple of the big banners. Those are the banners from the Gardens. That one there is George Armstrong's, and that's Conacher's. And then I just actually got Turk Broda's. I haven't had a chance to put it up. And then this is the oldest known hockey sweater in Toronto history. This is the 1903 Toronto Marlboros. So back then,
Big.
yeah, it actually looks like a it actually looks like a gopher. It was a lion at one point.
That's what I thought it was.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Golfing. There's our
Oh, yeah.
that's why we're cursed right there, Mark.
Dude, I want to get
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to get that sweater. That's gonna be my men's league team logo.
Doom from the start.
Only if you
Golfing.
do the turtleneck. Only if you do the turtleneck too.
Oh my
That's
god!
gotta
I
complete
can
it.
just imagine showing up with those jerseys. They'd love it.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
god!
back then, you didn't actually qualify for the Stanley Cup. You would write to the team, and in this case, it would be the Ottawa Silver Sevens or Vancouver, and you'd say, "Listen, we believe we've got the team to challenge you for it." And they'd end up losing this year, but the following year they would try. That would be the first Stanley Cup in
Really?
Toronto history. Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
That's so
And then I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm just a little bit of an Austin Matthews fan. And
That's funny. I had a bunch on that, Austin. I heard you have a huge collection there.
Oh, we definitely got to get into that before the end of the show, no matter what. I definitely want to talk about your opinion on the team
right now.
But let's hear about.
Sure.
I want to hear about this Matthews stuff.
Yeah, so I'll show you some of his jerseys and stuff I've got in the other room. But this is like some of his gloves. We've got some of his gloves from the Team North America and second hat trick, and this is from last year with the reverse retro, and here's from when he played in Switzerland. His gloves from Switzerland, and these ones here would be from the Centennial game when he played outside and had that great game winner at BMO Field. Mm-hmm. This helmet though is really cool. Okay, so these pants are from his 4-goal game. Nobody's seen anything. Obviously, they give the agreement the Leafs had was any player that played their first NHL game, they would get the jersey from that. They would get the puck from their first NHL goal, and they would get their pucks for the first NHL hat trick. So obviously, he got his first jersey, his first goal, and his first hat trick all done out of the way in the first game. So the team gave him that. They framed that for him, and nobody's seen anything since. But this here are the pants that he wore in the 4-goal game. But what makes it really cool is if you look above, that's actually a helmet here that came up from the team that actually is the 4-goal helmet that Matthews wore in his first game against Ottawa when he scored the 4 goals. And the only way that they were able to identify it is Matthews changed helmets after the first few games to a point where they couldn't use this 34 any longer. So he had to put 34 up in here. But Lou Lamoriello was so cheap that he was making the training staff peel the Leaf stickers off the side and the numbers to put them on the new helmets. That's how cheap Lou Lamoriello was. So he was making them do that. And so when this one came up, it still had the 34 was because he changed helmets. They could no longer use that. So this was identified from the team as it being the 4-goal helmet. So pretty cool piece for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Cool piece.
Wow. Yep. Crazy. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And have you had a chance? You've met Austin, right? You've met Austin before?
Once real quick. It's I haven't had a chance to meet him yet and have a chance to chat. I think from what I understand, he knows I'm a bit of a collector, but yeah, no, it's. I'm sure that'll come at some point.
I've met him a couple times. I've met him a couple times. I got lucky. He was training with a gentleman named Daryl Belfry out at the Vaughan Sportsplex, and I was lucky enough to meet him and got to watch him skate about 3 or 4 times, and met his parents. Sat with his parents, sat with him for about an hour, watched them. They're just a phenomenal family. Back then, he just looked like a young kid, no mustache, just an absolute gem.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So in here we've got Punch Imlach's jacket that he used to wear back in the days when he coached the Leafs to many championships. You've got Sid Smith, the old captain skates, came right from his son, and then you've even got some of the old Toronto Toros. That's Frank Mahovlich's tie, and there's an award that was given to Bob Davidson for most years of service as a Maple Leaf scout and coach and everything like that. Yeah, I'm gonna walk
you want to know how old I'm getting? You want to know how old I'm getting, Mark? I was actually looking at the cases. We had some nice cases. I was like, this guy got some nice cases. I was like, that one looked real nice.
They were nice cases. I was thinking the same finds. It is funny. I was gonna compliment them.
This here is a football cleats and football from McMaster University from 1933. Sil Apps, who was the captain and one of the greatest Maple Leafs of all time, wasn't even a hockey player back when they approached him to play hockey. He was actually training to go to the Berlin Olympics. And so when he went to go train, he turned down the contract with the Maple Leafs, went on to the Berlin Olympics, placed 4th in pole vaulting, and then came back and signed a contract to learn how to play hockey and be one of the greatest Maple Leafs of all time. So that's a football signed by the McMaster team that he played on, and those are his cleats from McMaster University, and they're also believed to be the ones that he may have used in the Olympics. Yeah, and then up there we've got a whole bunch of old programs. The first one in Maple Leaf Gardens, the oldest known one from the Toronto Arena Gardens, which is where they played before they became the Maple Leafs, and all kinds of programs and stuff. This is stuff from the dressing room. Down here we've got, you know, the original seats. We got the golds, and we got the reds, the blues, the greens, the gray, all down there.
The greens.
Yeah.
The
Got 'em all.
Italians.
There's the
Awful.
Chief. This was a big picture that hung in Maple Leaf Gardens, and then down here we've got like an old Marlies picture from back when Bobby Bond and a few of the boys played back there, and there's the old tape box down there from the Marlies, and even just some of the old advertisements from the 30s.
That's
You know,
so
there's
cool.
one of the
I like it.
tombstones. This is one of the tombstones that hung in the Maple Leafs dressing room. They'd make one for every year, and players would their name would be at the top of the list based on seniority. So Tim Daly would be the newest to the team, and Bob Davidson would be the longest serving back in 1942-43. So it's kind of cool. Here's a handwritten letter from Lord Stanley. Kind of heard from him once or twice.
One.
Yeah, yeah. And then even in here are some of the I guess the ones that I'll let people touch when it comes to sticks. We've got some Palmatiers and Grant Fuhr's rookie stick when he was with the Oilers, still wore number 1, and Freddie Anderson and Babcock. I know everybody loves him. Janssen, who played with the Leafs. Janssen, who left, is playing in New Jersey now. The real good story about this is that the first game that he played with the Marlboros, they had spelt his name wrong. They only put one S in the last name. So on his jersey, on his nameplate, and on the stick, they had spelt everything wrong. He didn't tell anybody because he was afraid. You know, he was just happy to be a part of it. So I've got the stick, the jersey, and the nameplate. And the funny thing is, the only picture you have of him in that jersey, he's knocked out cold on the ice. So he got dummied by somebody there for sure. But even Patty Marlowe, like his sticks, like he would take the butts out. He still uses a 3-piece sticks. James Van Riemsdyk, Tucker, McCabe, Gardner, McGillney, Neuendijk, a lot of names, right? Borashevsky, Peter Zezel, another guy we lost way too early. Screamin' Lehman, Rusty Courtnall, Rob Ramage, and there's the Greg Terrion stick I was telling you about right here. That's the first stick that started this disease.
Look at that 2x4.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's the one that started this
I got
disease, boys.
Curious question. What's the most money you've ever been offered for an item? You don't have to tell me what the item is, but what's the most money someone's ever offered you for an item?
The most would have to be one of the jerseys that I have, and someone had offered me $100,000 US for one of them.
Oh, that thing would be gone tomorrow.
Hard to turn down, or you know.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
She gone.
Yeah, she gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then in here we have a bunch of the trophies, and we've got some of the Stanley Cup trophies that players were given. We've got it from the 61, 62, 63, 64, and 66, 67 teams. There's Ted Kennedy's trophy that he was given for 47, 48. And then up there we've got an old award that was given back in 1929 to Hap Day. And that would have been given to the most popular player in the NHL. There's Gordie Howe's last goal puck. We got a bunch of Stanley Cup rings. I don't know if you can see them that well over there.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Mel Hill
from
the 44, 45, and Harry Watson from 47, 48, and then Dr. Bill Stromberg. He was a gentleman that injected Bobby Bond's foot with freezing back in the day. And then we've got even a couple of the gold coins in here. The gold coins were given to players when they won a Stanley Cup, and that was a lifetime pass to Maple Leaf Gardens until Ballard took over, and then he took that away from them all.
Dink.
And then we've got Busher Jackson's watch, and we've got Ted Kennedy's cigar box, and Bobby Bond, and Don Simmons. And then here's the trophy that was given to Andreas Janssen for the MVP of the Calder Cup playoffs. And there's Foster Hewitt's microphones that he called some of the very first games. Yeah.
Wow.
And then here's actually my girlfriend got this made for me. This is cool. Wendell Clark's rookie card. I made it a license plates.
All license plates?
That's all license plates. Like, that's cool. That's the only thing that's not game used in here.
That's
There's
crazy.
a chair.
And everything else so everything else is game used.
Everything else you see is
That
game
is that
used.
like now is that like a rule? Is that like a rule? Like everything has to
Yes.
be game used no matter what.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
That is now that's cool. That's cool. I
There's a
really like
there's a
that.
barber chair. There's a barber chair that was given that Conn Smythe was obviously being a military guy would demand players have their hair cut and beards trimmed before every game. And so that's cut everybody from Turk Broda to Ted Kennedy to all their hair back in the days of the Gardens.
That's wow.
And there's this is Legends Row for me. This is kind of it's a bit messy down here because I've had a couple of new acquisitions. Actually, here's a really cool story that most Leafs don't know is that in the late 70s, the NHL had told teams that they had to put names on the backs of the jerseys. Okay, so much like what you've got up there with Tiger Williams. Okay, and so a couple of teams voted against it. Harold Ballard was actually one of them who was animate about not having the names on the backs of visiting team jersey because he thought it would affect the program sales. So what does he do? He actually goes and puts dark nameplates with the names on the back of the jersey, of the dark jersey, so you can't see anything. So he puts, so instead of seeing Williams in white, he does it in blue. He did it for a couple of games till the league threatened to find him. He pulled it off. Nobody has ever seen one of those nameplates until about a month and a half ago. And there's one of the nameplates that belongs to him.
No way.
Where'd you find it?
Yeah. A really good friend of mine actually, he actually had two of them, and he had this one for a number of years and got a second one and called me up right away and said, we got to get one of these in your collection. So
Oh my God.
I'm very thankful. I'm very
that's a
thankful to
cool
him for
story.
helping me out with that. Yeah, it's great, and that's the thing too. Like I was saying, you make some good friendships here too, right? So it's not.
Yeah, you know what? When you come over to have beers at your place, we're gonna need to get hotels.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. 3 days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Probably
not
9
gonna get
a.m.
through
till
the
9
corner. I'm
p.m.
gonna be there for 16 hours.
That's
Yeah.
it.
So I
That's
said
it.
9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Findsy, 12-hour.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and we've got everything here from Ted Kennedy's sweater over here to George Armstrong and Tim Horton. We believe this is their rookie sweaters. Frank Mahovlich, red. We got Red Kelly's All-Star sweater. Davey Keon's late 60s sweater. The Wendell jersey we're talking about. Rudy Miguel. We've got Bronco Horvath. We've got Eddie Shack, Boreas Salming, Ricky Vive, Matt Sundin, and Killer. We've got Doug Gilmour's last jersey that he wore as a Maple Leaf in Maple Leaf Gardens. I don't know if I can get you to see it there. We got it. And then, of course, you got the Wilf Paymont, the 99. And even down here, when you look at these seats, there's Freddie Anderson's mask that he wore when he moved into fourth place all time in Leaf wins. But those seats there, if you look underneath, you might be able to see the green flooring.
Oh yeah.
So those were floor seats from the Maple Leaf Gardens from 1931 to the 1962 season when they started to do renovations and they got rid of them. So those are the original seats from Maple Leaf Gardens attached to the original floor.
Wow. That's amazing.
Cool. Yeah, that's amazing.
And then as you go around, you'll see like Iafrate, Paymont, Dom Foose, a lot of Courtnall, Motor City, Smitty, Eddie Olczyk, Wendell, a couple more Wendells back there, and Anderchuk, and there. And then we get into the Austin Matthews stuff, and that's not even including the back room, boys. The back room here, I'll just show you quickly because this is a big mess. But no, there's Daryl Sittler's jersey from the 70s when he scored five playoff goals, and there's Mitch Marner's jersey that I got from his dad when. From the outdoor classic game, scored a beauty goal in that one.
I think that's the best jersey. I think they should have wear it.
I love those for sure.
Oh yeah, and then here's the flags that flew in Maple Leaf Gardens the night it opened in 1931. And then there's original drawings here. There's original drawings from the sign that hung out in front of Maple Leaf Gardens. Johnny Bauer's wedding invitation. There's a team bench that was in the dressing room. You probably saw the Stanley Cup drunk on it a few times. Here's the original tape box, ticket holder, water bottle holder from the home team bench. Even this is one thing that I do have that's not Maple Leaf related. This is the New York Americans jacket. And a good friend of mine, Dale Morris, he actually did a really good special on the New York Americans and the fact of how they were pretty much lost as an organization. But that jacket there is a coach's jacket from 1935.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool, and just some of the old skates, and I could go on in this room forever, but I'll probably put you guys to sleep at some point.
No, I'm telling you, I can't tell you how cool this is. And like I said, I'm going to talk to you after this is over, get you back on. I'm going to book the date tonight, and we're going to get you back on. There's definitely no question I have, but we're on. You know what? We only got a few more minutes left, but I want to just quickly ask you. You're obviously on here. We're playing right now. I like I said, I told everyone to relax. Here we are. They're back up into the mix here. What do you think these guys got to do to cross the threshold to get over that first round?
I think they just got to be themselves. I think they got to have trust in what got them to where they are. I mean, we look back at it a few years ago, and if it's not Gardner with a few real bad rebounds that kind of don't work our way, we go to how many game sevens, we have leads in them. And I think it's just part of the maturing process. I mean, you look at a lot of the great players and a lot of the great teams, and how many years did it take for that group to come together and become what they were? And I think that right now, maybe I'm a little bit more optimistic than I should be, but I feel like this team's focus this year is completely different than we've seen every other year. And I feel like their dedication and the fact that they're paying attention to the small stuff and really taking care of things, cleaning up second chance opportunities, taking away lanes, taking away dead space, their goaltender, and again, I love Campbell, but they had a pretty good one here too. And not to say that I'm not happy with what they've got, but I love them. I love them to death, but I think that it's been a total team. It's been a total team commitment here. And I think that having Jack Campbell being loved the way that he is, and he deserves to be, it's a different energy for me. But watching them play and commit every night, it's the first time you can look at this team and almost feel comfortable that they can compete in a 1-0 game.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Mark. Yeah, it's nice to see, and it's like you said, it's finally a little bit comforting, and you can have it. And it's even those games when you're down, you kind of have the feeling like we got it, we'll come back now, even, right? Like it's not like it's over anymore. And it's just I'm liking the sounds of it, but like you said, it's all show us in the spring, show us what you're all about. We've seen this song and dance many times before, and let her have her hearts broken. So hopefully that can change in the past. But a couple quick questions before we get away. I want to ask you, if you're going to do Mount Rushmore, Toronto Maple Leafs players, who's on it for you?
If I'm looking at it, am I talking in 3 or 4 years from now, or am I talking right now? Because I think we've got one that's on his way to doing it, but I'm not sure that we're there yet.
Yeah, you can throw him in there. Yeah, throw him in the mix.
I think
I put him up there.
Yeah, I think Austin. I think at the end of the day, and as I've had the discussion with a lot of people, as much of a diehard Toronto Maple Leaf fan as I am, I don't know that we've ever had a true superstar. And if I'm suggesting a superstar, I might go back as much as Charlie Conacher. And being part of that kid line back in the day, I think that he might have been the closest thing during that time to being, what we've got. I mean, Sundin obviously was a great player, but again, different time, different era. Killer was here, but he was only here for a few years. So I think if I'm looking at things right now, I'm probably looking at Austin Matthews. I think, I still think Ted Kennedy being one of the ultimate all-time leaders, and coming back, when he was in retirement, I think leading his team and doing what he did. I think Davey Keon, obviously, what that guy did and what he's done, and so happy to see him back as a Maple Leaf, 100%. And then you've got some lesser knowns, but I still think that there's always room for a goaltender in there, and I think Johnny Bauer / Turk Broda, because I think there was a lot of comparables between the two of them. Those are guys you're not winning Stanley Cups without taking pucks in the face. And how many times have you guys seen that video where Bauer not only takes it once but 3 times in the face to make it happen, right? And
absolutely.
So I think that those are the guys that I'm probably looking at right now.
Not bad choices. Can't disagree with you there at all.
Yeah.
Well, what do you Styles? We're running out of time. What you got left there, brother?
We got time for another quick one or two.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite piece to you that you've collected to this day? What means the most to you?
I mean, aside from the Baroque exhibit, because I know we got into that a little bit, I think it's just some of the Matthews stuff. I'm so excited about this generational player that we have, and I think having a lot of the stuff from his rookie season when he broke the records, his sweaters and helmets, and his first NHL goal assist. I think all of that is really, really important. But I think that '67 Stanley Cup jersey that I just was able to bring in the other day of Ron Ellis, I think that has to be right up there.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. I also read a quick little thing on Matthews. He used to do little doodles or something on his autographs back when he was in Europe or something.
Well, he does a lot of stuff, and real quick, I'll show you on his gloves.
Yeah,
I mean, when you look at his gloves, he does little doodles on his gloves where you can see like little happy faces and with hearts and stuff like that. Mitch does a lot of that too. There's the Superman logo that you've got there.
Oh yeah,
you see that? Okay, yeah. And so he does a lot of that stuff, and yeah, this is I didn't get a chance to show you much of this, but this is the Matthews stuff. This is all rookie stuff. His first NHL assist, which is the next point after he got the 4 goals, and rookie helmets, and there's some Mitch stuff in there and some Willie stuff in there, and still some Matt stuff in there. But yeah, I think there's about 7 or 8 helmets, and yeah, I don't know. I really think, and actually, if you get a chance to go see when Matthews was drafted, as he's walking down the stage, you'll see me and my ex 3 times, with the close up, and I'm sitting right in front of Lane as he's getting called down, and so it was an attachment right from the start. Sweet. And I think the Matthews side of it, I'm excited to see him continue to grow, and I think because again, we go back to Salming and stuff like that. There are guys that have been huge stars in the league, but I don't know that we've ever had that one player that's been the best in the league at any given time, and potentially we have that here.
I agree. And you know what? Times are running me, my friend. And we really appreciate you coming on Off the Puck Hockey. You know what? We're going to rebook you. Hopefully hang around after we get off here. We're going to chat a little bit more. But thanks again for coming on. And we want to thank everybody. We got for watching the show, Off the Puck Hockey, our podcast TV show. You can check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere. Make sure you check out Off the Puck Hockey. Rogers TV, Channel 13, St. Thomas and London. Rogers TV, Channel 20, every Saturday night at 9 p.m. I want to thank again Adam Stiles, my co-host, as always. Mark Fera for joining us tonight. Make sure you follow Toronto Maple Leaf Guy on Instagram. Check out all of his social media pages. Make sure you're following him live. Mark, thanks again for coming on.
Guys, it's a treat, and hi to everybody in London, man. There's hockey hotbed there for sure. So
yeah,
thanks a lot for having me, guys.
December 17th, Knights game. I'm your host, Tyler Fines. As always, like I said, my boy Adam Stiles, Mikey Walker couldn't make it tonight. Matt Huddle, our producer, and of course Marty Zylstra for making our theme song, which is an absolute banger. This is Off the Puck Hockey. Let's go.
Make sure to check out our past shows from previous weeks on our YouTube, Facebook, or Mixcloud channels. You can always catch up on podcasts while checking out our FHN Network channel on YouTube or Facebook. Or you can listen to an audio copy of our past shows on our Mixcloud channel at FHN_Network. The FHN Network, the future of entertainment.